What if you could just tell your CAD what you want? What if you could speak to it in your own language? For example, show me where the layers manager is. Although all of this may sound like science fiction, the reality is that it's already possible. AI is here, not to replace what you know, but to amplify it. A3 is the intelligence inside your CAD environment, which allows you to perform many important tasks, as we will see in this video. First, A3, your personal CAD intelligence, built into ARES Commander and ARES Kudo. Then, how A3 lets you select, create, and modify entities with natural language. Next, AI-powered text tools for documentation and multilingual workflows. After that, AI-driven block generation, creating CAD symbols from simple descriptions. And finally, online drawings automation, batch processing, scheduling, and recurring jobs that run in the background. Let's get started. With ARES AI Assist, A3, complex multi-step operations become simple conversational actions. A3 is much more than a chatbot. It's a CAD-specific assistant, powered by AI and trained for ARES workflows and real drafting needs. It's integrated directly into ARES Commander on desktop and ARES Kudo in the cloud. Help is always there, exactly when you need it. You don't need to remember commands or search through menus. You simply ask, in virtually any language. A3 will guide you to the exact location of the function you're looking for, whether in ARES Commander or ARES Kudo. And in the latter, you can now even use your voice. Just speak your request, and A3 converts it to a command. For example, select all the blocks. You focus on intent. A3 handles execution. Let's try another action. For example, now transfer them to the A_block layer. A3 operates directly on live, vector-based CAD data, not on static images or screenshots. It understands what you want to do with your drawing. A3 is ready out of the box. Whether you're new to CAD or a seasoned professional, A3 adapts to you. For new users, A3 acts as an on-demand mentor. It highlights tools directly in the interface, explains steps visually, and provides judgment-free help. Learning happens naturally, while real work gets done. For users migrating from other CAD platforms, A3 explains ARES-specific workflows and helps you customize your environment from day one. For more experienced users, A3 is a productivity multiplier. Tasks that used to require several commands can now be completed with a single sentence, as we'll see in a moment. But A3 isn't the only AI working for you. ARES Commander 2027 introduces a new AI-powered command recommender. This widget analyzes your interactions with the software in real time and predicts the commands you're most likely to need next. It follows the commands you are using and anticipates what are the next commands you will most likely need, based on anonymized statistics from all the users. Together, A3 and the command recommender create an intelligence layer that anticipates your needs and removes friction from every step. Of course, the command recommender is available for both 2D drafting and 3D modeling, giving you quick and easy access to all commands. Let's see A3 in action, working directly on your drawing. A3 supports natural language-based selection and modification workflows, whether in ARES Commander or ARES Kudo. You can select objects by type, layer, or property. In this example, we will change the color of the selected entities. Our natural language is converted into commands that A3 interprets and translates into CAD operations. This way, you can target specific blocks by name, just like with layers. You can also make a selection based on a specific color, line type, or geometry. But the real power is in combining selection and modification in a single prompt. Here, you can see each step of the process as it unfolds in real time. Let's look at another example. We're going to tell it, move all the texts and dimensions to the layer annotations. Let's observe the steps it performs. Get layer summary. It didn't find the layer we mentioned, so it created it. Now it selects the entities we requested and moves them to the new layer. Look, it even left us a note explaining what it has done. Let's change the layer color to verify that the action was completed. Perfect. Now let's look at an example with ARES Kudo. A forestry study carried out a first survey of a photo area, adding circles that represent tree canopies. Now it may be useful to select all tree canopies whose radius is smaller than 55 centimeters, although in our drawing they would be drawing units. Select all the circles with a radius smaller than 55 units. Thus, an apparently simple action can become very useful in certain contexts. Here is another example. Move all entities of the A_wall layer to A_wall new layer. Let's try a simple command, such as, draw a rectangle of 200 by 100 units where the first point is located at the coordinate 0, 0. Continuing in the same thread of conversation to add, draw two circles inscribed within the rectangle in such a way that they do not overlap. Notice that, in addition to creating the circles, it also provides information about the actions it has performed. Now, add a solid hatch on the solid layer with blue color in the areas outside the circle and inside the rectangle. It doesn't matter that we didn't get exactly what we expected. Perhaps we simply didn't provide enough information. We can continue interacting with A3 to refine the result and make adjustments. Let's clarify what we need to do. There are 6 areas, and you have only completed 1. I need you to complete the missing areas. An equally important detail is that A3 has automatically created the solid layer with the specified color, since it did not previously exist in the drawing. Speaking of layers, let's try a few more examples. First, we ask it to create 4 new layers, 3 red layers named Red 1, Red 2, and Red 3, and a 4th layer called Green 1 in green. Here we can see what it has done. Let's take a closer look and verify it. Next, we ask it to select all entities in the drawing and move them to the Green 1 layer. Finally, we ask it to delete all red layers in the drawing. What is truly impressive is that A3 can now actively perform modifications within the drawing. For example, it can execute standard commands such as scale with precision. It can also rotate, stretch, mirror, apply hatches, or simply move objects. On top of that, it can create blocks, delete elements, and the list of supported operations keeps expanding. By combining all these capabilities, you could use advanced instructions such as move all entities in the drawing to the layer 0 with color by layer, then create a block named tree from them. Next, move the inserted block to a new layer called A_tree, which you will need to create. Scale the block by a factor of 0.8 and change its color to blue. All changes come with built-in undo support, so you can safely experiment. What used to be a sequence of commands, selections, and property changes now becomes one continuous flow. Fewer errors, greater productivity, and enhanced focus. Let's continue with the AI text tools. Inside the mText editor, ARES Kudo now offers 5 AI-driven text tools: Translate, Refine Writing, Quick Correction, Smart Description, and Generate Summary. Need to translate a technical note into German, Japanese, or English? With this feature, you can translate without leaving the drawing. If no specific portion of the text is selected, the entire content will be translated. However, you can also work with specific sections. Simply select the text you want to translate. Need to improve the clarity of a specification? Refine Writing enhances your text while preserving its technical accuracy. In this example, we'll refine a specific section of the content. Quick correction handles grammar and spelling. Smart Description generates descriptive text from minimal input. And Generate Summary condenses long notes into concise paragraphs. With the option to choose between a short or detailed version. This can be useful for studying and analyzing a text, allowing you to decide whether to incorporate it into the drawing or not. These tools were first released in ARES Commander, and now they're also available in ARES Kudo, bringing the same AI text capabilities to your cloud workflow. You can regenerate, replace, or insert AI-generated results based on your needs. With support for more than 50 languages, these tools work naturally in global teams. One drawing, many languages, one platform, all without leaving your drawing or interrupting your workflow. Creating CAD blocks just got a lot easier. With the new AI-assisted block generation tool, available within the Trinity block library in both ARES Commander and ARES Kudo, you simply describe what you need: a door swing, a power outlet, a table, or even something as extraordinary as a spacecraft, and the system generates a precise, standards-aligned symbol for you. The tool supports a broad range of categories: architectural, electrical, plumbing, and mechanical components. You can quickly adjust the results with simple text instructions, fine-tuning symbols to fit your project. No more starting from scratch or searching through libraries. And because this works through the Trinity block library, generated blocks are shared across ARES Commander and ARES Kudo. Create once, use everywhere. It's a faster, smarter way to build drawings, helping you stay focused on the bigger design instead of getting hung up on the details. Let's create another block, for example a compass rose. We choose the option we like the most and save it. In fact, we could save all 3 options if we wanted. Now that we have the block, we insert it into the drawing. Can you imagine having all the elements you need every day ready to insert into your drawing, and now being able to create them easily, without having to search the internet? Just try a prompt that describes what you need, and you'll be able to generate blocks with minimal effort. Whether in ARES Commander or ARES Kudo, ready to use freely in all your projects. Last but not least, let's talk about the other side of the equation: automation. While AI helps you work smarter, automation helps you work at scale. These capabilities were already available in ARES Kudo, where users could define the type of automation job they wanted to perform by first selecting the task, and then configuring the options specific to that workflow. We'll come back to this dialog box in a moment. In the meantime, let's return to ARES Commander. The Automation Job Status palette lets you track the status of your automation jobs, whether they were created in ARES Commander or ARES Kudo, since they are linked to your Trinity account. With our drawing stored in the cloud, we can run any of the available automation jobs. To do so, simply click the corresponding icon and a dialog box will appear, one we already know from ARES Kudo. Here, we just need to fill in the required parameters, which will vary depending on the type of task we want to perform. In this example, we can export to different formats, including DWF. One of the most important features of automation is the ability to create scheduled tasks. For example, we can create a recurring task that runs at regular intervals. We can also define a specific date and time, or simply execute it immediately. After configuring the parameters, we can click Start and we will see that the task is added to our list in the palette. When opening the browser, we can directly monitor the progress in ARES Kudo, which can be a more practical way to manage and control a large list of tasks. From the Cloud Storage palette in ARES Commander, you can right-click on a file and the available automation options for the selected file type will appear. Now let's look at another example. If we have a DST file stored in the cloud, we can also create an automation job. In this case, we simply right-click. Notice that, since this is a DST file, there is currently only one available option for this type of file. As before, we fill in the parameters of the dialog box. In this case, we want this task to run automatically every Friday after the end of the working day. After completing the parameters, we start the task. That way, every Monday on site, our colleagues can access the directory and retrieve the latest project drawings in PDF format, ready to be printed locally if needed. These automation features, which first appeared in ARES Kudo, are now beginning to be integrated into ARES Commander, extending cloud-based workflows directly into the desktop environment. And for teams working with BIM, there's an entire automation category dedicated to generating DWG drawings from Revit and IFC files, including support for the latest Revit 2026 format, multidiscipline models, and integration with Autodesk Forma. We have a dedicated deep dive video on BIM drawings automation where we cover this in depth.